Hello, everybody. This is Devon, Bandison, and I'm so excited that you're joining us on what I call the quick game changer calls. And today I'm going to be interviewing people throughout this series about being a game changer and game-changing moments in people's lives. And today I am honored to have Steve Chandler, who is the author of over 30 books, best-selling author. He's also known as the Godfather of Coaching. He has a coaching school called Advanced Client Systems. And Steve has been able to help business owners, coaches, executives, athletes all over the world as a prosperous and successful coach. And I really want to invite Steve in for us to have our first conversation about what it means to be a game changer. So welcome, Steve, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Devon. It's my pleasure and my privilege, actually. I'm just happy to be with you. I love the whole game changer movement, so I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, well, thanks, Steve, and thanks for joining. You know, Steve is actually part of our global community called the Global Game Changers. And if you want to check it out, it is a free Facebook page where we're really talking about taking people up level in their businesses, their relationships, their lives through personal, professional development. And if you want to check it out, you can go right to Facebook, and we have a free page where you're going to get a lot of great content on this concept of being a game changer. So, Steve, in this conversation, I just wanted to check in with you. I'm having people on here to just share their story about game-changing moments. And for me, just for everybody's listening and may not have heard the phrase game changer, we've probably heard it in our life. But for me, as we talked about before, Steve, it kind of is like the moment of truth, right? It's where your past is no longer working, or when your past up until this point has become your future, right? Like, this relationship hasn't been working. I keep trying to use my past to make it better. And a game-changing moment is when you wake up and say, my past is no longer my future. I'm going to create a new future. It's a moment of truth. And we see these moments of truth, these game-changing moments in our business, in our relationships, in our life, in our finances. And sometimes people see someone successful like you, Steve, and they might say, oh, he's always had it like that. And I love to have these conversations for people to realize, no, we've all been in the same boat where we struggled in an area, and then that game-changing moment came. So I just want to maybe ask you to share a little about your story of before maybe this game-changing moment, and then what happened, and then after, and then what was created from that moment.
You know, it's funny, Devon, you say some of us have struggled in an area. And I just tried to think of an area where I haven't struggled, and I can't. So for me, it was across the board. It was relationships, it was mind, it was body, it was spirit, it was everything. And my life was really spinning out of control. So I'll just pick one, although there have been many game changers for me. The biggest game changer for me came when I was addicted to alcohol and drugs, and finally surrendered to that. Really had a moment of truth. My life is not going to work this way. It might not even continue this way. And I don't trust the other way, but something in me says, go there. And that's when the game changed for me. I went into recovery, and I found out, I think, the biggest news I've ever received from the world. And that is, people can change radically. They're not stuck in who they are. They think they are. They think that they're permanent and that they've got all these qualities and characteristics, but they don't. They're a blank slate. They're a blank canvas, and they can wake up and paint whatever they want. Well, that was the game changer for me. Not only that I could live and thrive and be happy without drugs and alcohol, that was a game changer, but then seeing the rooms of people and how radically people changed. I would watch a guy come in who was homeless and just a mess, and then a year later in the same meeting, he's dressed well and has talking differently, just a completely different person. And so for me, that started it. And then game changing happened along the way in the other areas that were important, in the area of money, relationship, business. The game changers started popping like popcorn for me after that fundamental first game changer was my recovery from being addicted.
Yeah, and thank you, Steve. I love that point. And you mentioned something in that about not trusting, right? Like, there's so many people out here who want to make the shift or see that life isn't workable anymore, yet they're like, I don't trust that this can happen for me. So can you talk about a little about, like, what do you do when you feel like, I don't trust, I don't know if this will work for me? And what are the choices that come after that?
You know, I had to abandon my wanting to trust it. I had to give that up and say, I'm willing to test it. Yeah. You know, maybe I'll trust it later, but I've wasted a lot of time trying to trust things, new systems, a new way of life. And I leave that out now. Yeah. So for me, it was, I don't trust it's going to work, but I'm going to give it my best shot. I'm going to test it. I'm going to see, what do I have to lose? And then the trust came in after. It started to fill me up because I could see, I could experience it. So a lot of people I work with think when they learn a new system, whatever it is, for getting clients, for building a business, for having a relationship with good communication in it, they say, oh, gee, I guess I'll just have to trust that it's going to work. And I say, no, you don't have to. You can leave that out, but test it. Right. And that skips one of the things that really stops people. They think they have to trust something in order to give it a really good try.
Yeah, I love that distinction, Steve, and the testing. You know, we talk a lot in the Game Changer about getting out of the stands and onto the court, right? Yes. So the conversations when you're in the stands, right, is a different conversation than when you're on the court. In the stands, it becomes very critical. You're analyzing things. Oh, what if this doesn't work? How will I be judged? But the testing part, as you're talking about, is like, let me just get on the court. Let me just take a few shots. Let me just write a couple pages for this book, not trusting that I'm going to complete the book, but let me test it. And then, as you said, right, the confidence or the trusting comes after you get into action, right? Yeah. And can you tell us about some of those examples of, like, you got into action and you realized, you know, something was created from it that you didn't know was possible?
Yeah, well, you know, that's the thing. When I think about Game Changer, and you talk about moment of truth, there are two aspects. One is sometimes the game changer comes out of nowhere. You're sitting in a seminar, or maybe you're just meditating in the morning, and all of a sudden something opens up, or you've had one drink too many, whatever it is, but it feels like it arrives. But then there's another aspect, and that is, I'm going to create a game changer. I'm going to use my creativity, and I'm going to create it. And that can happen too, and I love that form of game changer. So for me, another big game changer was, I never believed I could do well in the free market system and make money and grow up and have a nice house and be an adult. I never believed that. But at some point, I got a coach who said, you can create that using the power of creativity, and we're going to go about creating that. So I began to see, I don't have to wait for enlightenment or something to change. I can create what I want. So I created a business. I created a different relationship to money. I created learned how to create clients, a really good client list. And that was a game changer for me, knowing I could create what I wanted. So my coach, I would bring a problem to my coach and describe it. And he would say, okay, given that situation, what do you want to create? And no one ever talked to me that way. Because before, the therapist would say, oh, how does that make you feel? And how does that horrible thing make you feel? Oh, I feel terrible. Oh, that's too bad. And let's see if we can process those feelings. It may take a couple of years. So make sure you don't go out and live anymore while I'm doing therapy with you, because we're going to fall way behind here. Because you might have new things to process. Stay in your bedroom until we process your past.
Right.
Anyway, sorry.
No, I got it. And I love that you talked about coaching. I think that coaching, if I was to look at both my clients, but also my own life, it was one of the top things that when it was in my life, helped me see a different perspective of how to get on the court and create these game changers. And like you said, there's two. Sometimes you sit in a quiet space and the insight comes and you realize, I no longer have to live like this, or I can create something new. And I also want to not fast forward, but sometimes people, and I appreciate you sharing the early parts of what you struggle with and then the moment of truth and the game changer. And then people, I think it's great to hear the impact, right? The impact that has had on your life when you went from, not thinking you can stop drinking alcohol and using drugs and then having recovery come in your life and the impact that's had on the rest of your life, or not feeling you can make money in the free market and then making that game changer decision and getting into creativity and what the impact has had on your life now. So can you just share where you are now and what those game changing moments have afforded you and the impact it's had on your life and those around you?
Yeah. So that's an important thing, because a true game changer doesn't go away. So it's not something I have to remember to try to believe in and try a feeling that I want to try to get it back. I left this seminar and I felt so good, and then a week later I was the old me. That's not a game changer. A game changer is something that doesn't go away. It's not a new belief. It now affects every aspect of your life. So for example, you mentioned money and things like that. So when I had a game changer with making money, with creating wealth, it affected every aspect of my life, and it didn't go away. Now, sometimes my practice of doing what I needed to do to create relationships, that would go away, but that was easy to fix. I didn't have to start all over with, I've lost all confidence in myself. I just had to remind myself, get back on the court. But the game changer is a fundamental, absolute radical change in how life occurs to you. And it doesn't go away. And that's why it's I think the greatest part of the work you and I do is helping people experience these and then live from a completely new perspective of life.
So good, Steve. How life occurs to you, and I love the insight on the game changing moment doesn't go away. And what I point out to clients is, and you're never ever gonna get it. It's not like I wake up and I just get it. It's I got to get back on the court and practice, right? Yeah. So if I have a breakthrough, for instance, in integrity, and I say, wow, I'm living with integrity right now in the moment. I don't wake up tomorrow and say, hey, I'm a guy with integrity, because I don't ever get it. I wake up and practice it, right? It's getting on the court and practicing the game changer and the insight you have, right?
Yeah, that's it. And the practice is fun. That's the other thing. I used to think practice meant, oh no, drudgery, something I'm not good at. harsh self-discipline. The practice can be very joyful, really fun.
Yeah, awesome. So I just want to thank you and see, you know, we're going to be sharing these little snippets of game-changing moments from people who I know, you know, and have experienced as game changers, who are not only making a difference in their life, but the lives of people around them. Because I think that's the other part of being a game changer, right? Once you have the insight and you've created this for your life, there's usually an impact on those, like you talked about, on those around you. So I want to thank you, and I just wanted to leave it with, do you have any other things you'd like to tell the Game Changer community? As you know, I've been doing these Game Changer one-day workshops, and we're going to have this 3-day conference in April of next year. It's going to be, it's not even a conference, it's a 3-day experience where we're going to be creating breakthroughs and game-changing moments for people. So I just wanted to see if you had anything else you wanted to just tell the people out there who are tuning in, who are becoming and creating game-changing moments for themselves.
Well, I just say keep an open mind. If I used to have this skeptic, oh, 3-day game changer, yeah. Keep an open mind and allow yourself to experience something new. Allow yourself to be a beginner. I like the beginner's mindset, totally open. And if you do that, you will prepare the ground for game changers to happen.
Awesome. Steve, it's been an honor and a pleasure. This is fun. I appreciate having this conversation with you. And you truly are a game changer, my man. I know you've had an impact on my life and those around me. So I just want to thank you for taking the time today.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, guys. We'll tune in a couple more weeks. You'll get the next game changer video. But please watch this one. If you're watching right now, go back and watch it again. There's so many nuggets in this short video with Steve. Take care.